Alright, I plugged it in and it was too quiet for me, so I'm making some adjustments here. So the pickup, I took out the mounting plate down inside, and I actually replaced it with a riser on top. This puts the magnetic field up closer to the strings, so we'll get some more volume that way. And it was a little buzzy, so I thought I would add a little bit of extra protection against that. Considering that we're using a metal box, we can use that as a Faraday cage. So I got a wire soldered to the tin itself, over to the tailpiece, and then up to ground on the jack. And the tailpiece is conductive and it actually touches the strings. So now the strings are grounded, the case is grounded, and the pickup is closer to the strings. Okay, now that I've grounded out the tin, the tailpiece, and the jack, and the pickup, you know, the whole ground circuit's all working together, I drilled a couple holes through the back and set it up so that I can attach the neck to the tin using 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. That allows me to take this in and out and open it and close it. So if I were to glue this neck into place, it would be permanent, and I'm not quite ready to do that because I may add some tone controls and such in here. For now, I want to experiment with the tone controls in a box outside of the guitar just so I can dial it in exactly the way I want it before I commit. So we took this out earlier so that we could move this up. And I'm going to reuse this as the brace underneath the bridge so that we can stiffen the top up a little bit and stop the guitar from having a whammy bar unintentionally. The tin isn't super loose, but it's loose just enough. It bends just enough that you can bend the note a tiny bit by pressing your hand against the body of the guitar as a note is sustaining. And I want to knock some of that out. So we're just going to reuse this brace we made earlier by attaching it right to the top there with some of our super strength adhesive. The brace is in place with the adhesive and it's all clamped up. Now we just gotta wait for it to cure up and then we can continue on. Okay, I've got everything buttoned back up and put back together. The brace is now solidly underneath of there. Let's see. While I was waiting for that to set up, I went ahead and started working on the outboard tone control and volume controls. So here's a little box I came up with. We've got volume control here at the bottom. We've got the variable resistor of the RC filter, high pass, I should say low pass filter there. And I'm going to be a little creative here and have it so I can switch different capacitors in and out. And this is the kind of thing, is the reason why I want to have it external to the guitar so I can experiment with this kind of stuff. And of course we've got the input jack there, the output jack there, so it's typical foot pedal configuration, and no wiring yet, but we'll get there. That's as much as I had time to do. Everything's nice and neat so far, and probably show you guys that once it's done. We're working on replacing the temporary bridge, and I took a bit of the black palm, cut off a piece with the grain going this way, so it's really strong when the strings press down on it, and a piece of maple, and I traced out a outline of everything that needs to be cut out. It's going to have 3 legs, 2 big ones and one in the center, and then this piece is going to be removed, as is this one, and then these outside pieces as well.
What are you going to cut it with?
Bandsaw. And then there's going to be sanding work because the whole thing tapers up, and then there's the spot where the 3 strings go over. Each one of them needs to be in a different position in this plane to correct for intonation on the strings according to size.
I see.
Time to clean it up with needle files.
Mm-hmm. How's the sanding going?
It's a slow, accurate process. I'm just finishing up breaking the edges here.
Where'd you come up with the design for it? Your hand.
Banjo bridges are very similar. I wanted the string sits about here, here, and here. And I wanted there to be a direct down underneath each one of them so that it's nice and strong. But we want to make it as light as possible. So we remove the stuff. And we want to spread the vibration out.
Is it smooth? Whoa.
Yeah. Now the border between them is...
Ooh. A little less than before.
And it doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to not have a ridge like
That's
that
nice.
side. We'll get this side smooth too.
Perfect. That feels nice and smooth.
Alright, now for some hand sanding. Little detail bits here.
Okay.
Alright, so I'm going to mark out where the strings cross the bridge. Alright, those look good.
Okay.
And now I've got to start figuring out how I'm going to get that top to be beveled.
Gonna score it a little bit.
I don't know.
Okay.
We'll figure it out.
Okay. Alright, so you marked.
Let's split it into thirds.
Okay.
And I'm going to file this one at an angle.
Okay.
The string comes off, you know, about here.
Okay.
So by putting it back at an angle, the string will touch just on this side of it, which pushes it that way. And this one, I'll file it so that it's angled that way, so that the string touches here. And this one, I'll file it from both sides, so that just the string goes over the top right at the center.
Cool. And so that accounts for the string thickness
Yes.
and the string... What else?
We're on a 23-inch scale,
Yes.
but length isn't the only thing that affects
Yes.
the resonance
Yeah.
of a string. Its mass also affects it.
Okay.
So we're correcting for the mass differences on the different strings by setting their lengths.
Yep.
We're changing the lengths to make up for the difference.
I see. Look at that. So there, you can tell the slight nuances here.
Yeah, that one lays forward, that one lays back, that one's in the center, and this one is slightly lower than this one.
Very nice. Are we going to install it now?
Yep.
Okay. Go for it. Here's your up close and personal show of Omar getting detuned. Detuned. Whoop.
Okay, we also have to measure it.
Oh, so because we're gonna do the 23 inches, correct?
Yep.
Yep. That's very nice. You... Close. Good? It's like a play-by-play.
I want to lean this back just a tiny bit because it is going to lean forward when we tighten them up.
Okay.